Hi guys, it is Niall and Thomas. I am coming to you live from Copenhagen. Thomas is live from Belgium, and we're here with another update from Eurovision semi-final 2. And also, I guess, whatever we call today, Freaky Friday, potentially. It has been an interesting day, but we'll get into that towards the end. Thomas was at semi-final one's evening preview. I was at the live show last night. I have not watched any of the performances live, so any opinions I have are based on what I've seen in the arena. Thomas, have you seen any live?
I've watched. Which ones did I watch today? I've watched Switzerland's. Because I should say I was on my way home last night, so I had a flight at around 6, which got a little bit delayed, about half an hour, due to like full cabin, so it was like there was not enough room for the luggage and stuff like that. So I arrived in Brussels at around 8, I think, and then I had to wait for a half an hour for the train, and then the performances were over by the time that I got home. So I got to see the results, which I wish I didn't, for obvious reasons.
There's a spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I haven't, except I watched Switzerland, Armenia. I've watched Armenia because that was one of my favorites, and I really wanted to see what it looked like on camera. And I think that's it, just the two.
Yeah.
I haven't had the heart to look back at anything else.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them and what they look like on camera. I'm also looking forward to seeing some of the interval acts and how they looked on camera. I also want to see if I've made it to TV because I was quite closer to the screen, to the stage this time. So there's a chance you might just see like the top of my head or something like that on screen. But yeah, so we'll get into it. Now, it was only yesterday, but it feels like a million years ago. I can't fully remember the running order. But Malta opened the show. And I thought Sarah Benici was fantastic. What happened, do you think, that caused this not to qualify? Do you think it just didn't captivate the audience, or?
I think the only thing that happened really is the fact that this was. I can actually, having seen it live, I can actually, with 100% certainty, say that this was by far the better semi. This was the stronger semi, and I feel like Cyprus went through with a similar entry, with arguably a simpler and less exciting staging. So who knows? Maybe if they had been switched around, maybe if Malta had been semi 1 and Cyprus had been semi 2, then we would have seen Malta in the final. I don't know. For me, that's what happened. Just a very, very strong semi. I don't think anyone really qualified that didn't deserve to qualify. I think that would be very unfair to say, except for the obvious country. I've seen some bashing on Latvia, which I don't think is really fair. But yeah, Malta, they opened the show.
Do you think they were forgotten? Maybe that didn't help. Also, I've got to say, the recap they chose was an interesting choice.
They chose the scene where, it's the flip. Yeah, it's basically the flip.
Yeah, I feel like they should have used more of the actual vocal of the song. Oh, yeah. I've got a blur. Thumbs up now. It blurs the effects. I feel like they should have used the chorus. The chorus is really fun and upbeat.
Yeah, and she has a great vocal.
Yeah,
a very, very good vocal. So yeah, I do agree with that. It was. I get why they chose that clip because obviously it's impressive, the flip and all that. But yeah, especially in the second run through, because the first recap is a bit of a longer recap. Yeah, they show longer clips. It's not that it's a huge difference, but still it's a couple seconds more. And then especially the second recap, it was basically just the flip, and that was it. So there was no singing involved in that clip. There was barely even any music involved because it's basically just a sound effect. And she does the thing, and whoop, that was it. So yeah, interesting choice. I don't really think that really changed the results much. I genuinely think it's just strong semi, running order, because you couldn't fault the performance at all. That performance was very, very good. It was impactful. It was powerful. It was sung very well. It had pyro. It had dance breaks. What more could you ask? It's not the strongest entry.
No.
I suppose that also has to do with why it didn't qualify. You can't say that this is a groundbreaking song, but it is fun. But there was a lot of fun in the semi.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to reiterate how well Sarah performed. It was so good. It was actually a couple of people I heard say their favourite of the night, which honestly, it was one of the atmosphere in the room was fantastic for it. Brilliant. Let's just we spoke for an hour about semi-ones. We'll try and speed this along this time. Albania, Greece, and Switzerland. Albania better. I was actually stood behind some of the Albanian delegation, and they were very excited. Of course.
Yeah.
I can't say how much of Bessa I actually got to really see because they had their flags. But I forgave them. You know, they were excited for their own country. I think Bessa's voice was great. I think it was one of the stronger vocals I've heard from her. Again, I just wish this was not revamped. I wish this was the original song that was entered into Thick. I much prefer it. The staging was okay. There was nothing sort of unexpected from it, in my opinion.
No, but I feel like for me, the staging was a little basic compared to what. I mean, I feel like other entries that they've had, even though they usually stage quite simply, it's usually more impactful. I also thought it was interesting that for the first time in a long time since I can remember, they did not use the traditional black and red colors for their staging, which I thought was a nice change, but it was just all very basic, I think. So.
I think we're going to see red and black every year from now on, because that's 2 out of 2 where red and black haven't been used, and it's been a non-qualification. Obviously, we've got Runella from 2022 was blue and pink, if I remember correctly. But no, it was a welcome change. I did like that they tried something different. I think the whole vibe of this song was quite different from what Albania traditionally sent, but I really enjoyed it. Really good. Greece now. I need to say something, and I've been thinking this since Tuesday. Marina Sati looks so good at the age of 37. I was shocked to find that out. Like,
insane.
If Marina catches this at all, please drop us a line with your skincare routine, because my God, we need it. Or I do anyway.
Well, she's a Greek goddess. What more can you say?
I'll say, having seen this live twice, once with yourself at the preview, and once I enjoyed this more the second time round, and I don't know if that's because I got to see it from the front of the stage rather than the side. I got to see a bit more of it. This really popped, actually, staging wise. It wasn't quite as one shot as I thought it was going to be. I know there was a lot of one shot in it, but no, I think it sounded great. I think the choreo was great. The dancers look fantastic. We know we love them. They're brilliant. I think this just went really well and just was a really solid entry. I really can't say much else.
This is one of the biggest growers for me, I think, and it only really started really growing on me after we met her at the Wee Wee Rooftop Lounge in Malmö, where she was so chatty, would not stop talking. Do you remember? Like, she just kept on going on and on and on. Very, very sweet. She said a lot of very sweet things.
She was very well spoken, and
very well spoken. Warm thoughts. Really, really fell in love with her there. They had a little dance with her backing dancers on the Wee Wee stage. It was cute. It was lovely. She explained then a little bit about the one shot take that was going to be her staging. That's actually one that I'm going to be looking back at in maybe after we record this, because I'm very curious to see the actual camera angles to this one. But yeah, this was always going to qualify. I never had any doubts about that. So well done, Greece.
I think this is a great mix of that traditional Greek culture, but with, and I think Marina actually said this at the wee stage. You can check out our interview with Len. But it's the mix of the Greek culture and the love of the Greek culture, but in a modern, youthful way that is modern and isn't just about being Greek. It isn't just about the history. You know, I think she mentioned that she's from Crete and that had only been part of Greece for 100 years or so, and the culture was still so similar. So it's not always about, you know, the boundaries of countries. It's more about the region and the experience and stuff like that. So I really loved her interview. I thought it was really good, and this performance was fantastic.
It was.
Switzerland is next. I wonder if Tomas liked this one. Wow, all we've got to say is wow.
Yeah.
The staging is mind-blowing in the arena. Again, I've not watched this back. Did it look good on camera? I've only seen the recap.
Same. Oh yeah. No, that's the one that I watched. Yeah. Sorry, I was like, I was just want to say same. I haven't seen it for every performance. No, I've seen that one. Yeah, it looked good. I mean, I had already seen bits and pieces of it from the arena, because we did see that show twice as well. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't.
You saw it once.
I saw it once.
We have realised that this week has been a lot.
Yeah.
We have changed countries several times. We don't know what day it is. We don't know what shows we've been at. We don't know who we are.
We barely knew what city we were in.
It's been
absolutely
insane. But no, this looked, and Nemo sounded great and got a huge, phenomenal reaction in the crowd.
As expected, I suppose. And it did look really good on camera as well. Not that I hadn't expected anything less. The best part for me is when this sort of, I don't know how you can call that in English, like the sort of revolving light sort of goes on the backdrop.
Yeah, sort of like the new Poix intro.
Yeah, sort of, exactly. And then it just turns around like really, really fast. It's almost like they're in space almost. It feels like they're in space, or that's at least how I see it. Obviously they're on this turning platform, which doesn't only turn, but it also tilts from one side to another. Just the way that they hold their balance on that thing while jumping on it, dancing on it, singing on it, you know, really giving it their all. It was just very, very impressive. It looked super impressive in the arena. During the jury rehearsal, it looked even more impressive on TV when you have all these camera angles and all these different shots.
It's the one I'm looking forward to watch the most.
Yeah, definitely watch it. I'm sure the people who watched the semifinal will agree. This was also always one of the favorites. It will remain one of the favorites until tomorrow. We'll see what happens, of course. I really, really, really do not get why this started to go down in the odds. Not to say that I'm not pleased that Croatia is doing so well in the odds now. Obviously, the other big favorite. But there's nothing about the staging nor their outfit that explains as to why it started to go down. But, we'll see what happens. No, very, very well done by Nemo.
And I think whatever happens, it'll still do well. I think we're looking at a very strong result here, and which is really nice. Switzerland have been doing really well for a number of years now. With very different songs. Obviously, they've not always qualified. They've not always done this, but absolutely just a good, a really nice run of songs. I think they've got. Next up, let's take a look at Czechia, Austria, Denmark, and Armenia. Let's start with the non-qualifiers, Czechia and Denmark. So Czechia was the stronger of the two non-qualifiers here from the second set of four. Czechia and Denmark. Czechia just absolutely stunning vocals, great performance live. It looked really nice in the arena. The atmosphere was electric, especially yesterday. I would say that this got a huge reception in the arena, to the point where I was like, maybe this could qualify actually, because this is Czechia. We always have some sort of question mark over whether or not they will qualify, and then they do it. It's a end of a nice little qualifying streak that they've had, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, sometimes. But no, I really enjoyed this one. What did you think?
Yeah, so that's one that I haven't seen on TV yet. But yeah, in the arena, I think I told you when we were watching it, like, that this is really good. She sounds very good, because I think that was a main concern, which was the vocal, especially after the national final performance. The pre-parties had also not really lived up to expectations. But yeah, it looked really good. Obviously, Aiko at some point was completely. I don't know if you see it on TV, because obviously, like I said, both of us haven't watched it yet. But in the arena, at some point, the cubes, the light cubes that are on the ceiling, at some point came down completely and sort of completely, surrounded her.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there was the camera, the camera that was hanging from the ceiling was pointing at her, and I think that's the shot that you're going to be seeing on TV. But that in the hall was a very impressive moment, just seeing those things come down, and then you hear her voice, you hear her singing it, but you don't really see what's happening. I thought that was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a good use of this stage for sure.
Yeah, which just adds to the vibe in the arena. But if there's one thing that I can say for sure, especially after having seen a lot of the semi-one performances now on YouTube, there is a huge difference to how you perceive things in the hall as to how you perceive them on TV. Australia being one of the biggest examples of that, which went down enormously well in the hall, like got some of the biggest cheers of the night, and then to our huge shock did not qualify, which then afterwards turned out not to really look or sound that great on TV. So it really is, obviously, also when it comes to the vocals, you hear a lot of people around you singing along to the song, so it's very hard to actually tell, is this sung well live or not?
Yeah, I think it's well because it is a TV show. Some parts you hear stronger than others, based on where you're standing or what. But no, I do think there is a different vibe. But yeah, good on Aiko. She did amazing, and all of our love to our friend Tanya.
Yeah.
We also have Denmark non-qualifying. Now, again, this is one we weren't really surprised by. The staging fell flat for me. It was the same staging as the national performance, which was expected.
Yeah.
But there was just something. It felt like it lacked something.
Yeah. It lacked energy for me.
Yeah, I don't like that she was so solitary on stage. Stationary on stage. She was so just stuck in place. I don't know. I don't also know if the use of sand was so too literal. It was almost a little bit cheesy.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the use of sand. Obviously, it was not very clear in the arena. You couldn't really, unless you were very close, you could somehow see the sand trickling down a little bit from her hands. I think that probably looked better on TV than it did in the arena. But yeah, very, very stationary. And the thing is, it's not the type of song that you want someone to just stand still on. It does have a beat. You expect her to be moving more, which obviously she couldn't do because she was on the platform. At least they should have made it snappier then, with better camera angles, faster camera angles at some point. Although I don't really see how you would do that with such a song. It's not, even though it does have a beat, it's not like it's a fast song or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just all too basic, too demure. Her vocal is also, although she didn't sound off, she didn't really have any bum notes, but she doesn't really have a strong, powerful vocal, especially in the lower bits. I feel like some of the lower bits are too low for her register. I feel like she's struggling to grab those lower notes. She's better with the higher notes. That's for sure. So I feel like maybe the range was a little too stretched for her voice. But again, not a single bad note. That's not what I'm saying. It's just there should have been more power in that voice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, but
a great song, but yeah.
We will be singing, screaming sand at each other for years to come, I think.
Yeah.
And then we've got two qualifiers. We've got Austria and Armenia. Now, I would like to speak about Armenia first of all.
Oh.
This was, for me, the best energy in the arena for the live performance. It just felt like it lifted everyone's spirits. I just felt almost like I was levitating a little bit because it was that good. Like, it was just like really nice. I am so happily qualified. I think they really deserved this one.
It was a public pleaser, and that is exactly why they kept Armenia.
Yeah.
To the very last, as the last qualifier, because they knew that the hole would erupt. That was insanely good. It was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that I saw, that I rewatched.
Mm-hmm.
It just all looks very good. It's a little chaotic at times, but that's just what the song is. The song is pure chaos, but in the best way possible. Her vocal is so good. People that, we often, when you talk about vocals this year, we talk about Slimane, we talk about Nemo, all those like belters. But even though Jaco doesn't really belt in this song, her vocal is pitch perfect. And I think for me, the best part of the song, and I think which is also the part that is making people vote for it, is the sort of the part, I don't know how you call that, the part where she does a bit of an ad lib and then
the call and repeat.
Audience. Yeah. That was a brilliant part to put into that song. It also worked really, really well at the Wee Wee Rooftop Lounge. I don't know if you were there. You weren't there that day. No. So I will be, I promise I will be posting those videos on the Niall Point blog account on Twitter, along with a lot of other pictures and videos. But she was amazing there as well. She did that as well, on that rooftop lounge. She did it a little bit longer and a little bit more elaborated than of course, in that 3-minute song on stage. But the crowd there as well just went wild. We're dancing along, we're hopping along. It's just like you said, a great atmosphere, great energy, and it has gone up to my number one spot now. It is my favorite song. I'm so happy that this qualified. That is what made last night at least worthwhile a little bit.
Yeah. I just want to say their energy on stage, even when they're not performing, when Jaco comes in onto the stage and is getting into position, she is hyped. She is hyping up the crowd. She just looks like she is really making the most of this experience. And I think that is a great example to be setting for future contestants. Just make the most of it. Whatever happens, win, lose, whatever, just enjoy it. And I think that was rewarded, that energy. It just seemed happy, and it made me happy. So yeah. And then finally, from the second set of four, we've got Austria. We Will Rave. What did you think of this one, Live?
I gotta say, this is another one that to me came across better in the arena than on TV. I haven't seen the full performance yet, but the reason why I'm saying that is I saw the recap twice during the voting before the results were announced, and it did not sound great vocally.
Oh.
It did not sound great vocally. It wasn't bad per se, but it reminded me I'm going to get hate from you and a lot of people, a lot of UK fans. It reminded me a little bit of Mae Muller last year.
Of who, sorry?
Mae Muller.
Oh, right, okay.
Just like it sounded empty.
Right.
And just it sounded as if it was. Because here's the thing, we've seen those clips, those rehearsal clips from Colleen from a few years back, several years, where she does the stand-in rehearsals, and she sounds great in those videos. I don't know whether it's this song, whether it's the fact that she's dancing so much that she's out of breath a little bit, but she does not sound great. I feel like Colleen is another one of those singers that sounds a lot better when she belts, when she does higher notes, than when she does like these sort of lower notes. I don't know how to explain it. It just didn't sound great. It wasn't bad, but yeah, I was quite surprised actually that she made it. That was one for me that seemed like an obvious shock non-qualifier. I'm happy that she did make it because I do really love the song, but surprising.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear that the vocal wasn't so strong because it did sound really good in the arena. I will say that the choreo was superb. Chanel who, same for Sarah Benici, like they went all out on these dance breaks. I will say that watching from the front of the stage was better than watching from the side of the stage. So from the front of the stage, you got a lot more of the glistening from the pyramid prop on the top.
Yeah. Yeah. And the backdrop as well looks really good in this one.
Yeah.
It's a very cool backdrop.
The comment from one of the people I was with was that the dancers were wearing too many clothes. If Colleen hears this, please address that. He will be very happy. But no, it was. I think it was a fun performance. That reception was good as well in the arena. It did. Yeah. It just helped that this was in a nice little pocket of songs straight after Czechia, and straight after Czechia, you then had Denmark. So you sort of had this really high energy, continue the high energy, but in a different, and then sort of go down a bit. I think that might have helped it because you've got this like, oh, that was really good.
I mean, it is just a very good song. Let's not, we've seen many entries go to the final with a bit, with shaky vocals. Blanche wasn't. It's not like Blanche gave a stellar performance and she made it to the final as well. She came fourth. So you don't always need that strong vocal. I'm just saying that's what I noticed in the recap. Yeah. But it's just a very good song and a very good staging. So a well-deserved qualification nonetheless.
Let's talk about probably the biggest shock of the night. Latvia. Dons qualified with the song Hollow. Now, Dons is a great singer, great vocally, so it doesn't surprise me that the public would reward that. Performance-wise, though, this felt quite, not to use his own song against him, but it did feel a little bit hollow. It just felt that there wasn't a lot to it. And I know you can't really stage it too much, but everything... I talked about Denmark being stationary. This was so stationary.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was a missed opportunity, especially with that prop. If that prop had been on a swivel or something like that and turned and used the 360 stage, hi Billy, nice to have you back. If that had used the 360 stage, like...
Wait, let me just... Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Otherwise he's not going to shut up. Sorry.
No worries.
Like a chicken snack thing.
So I do think this station was just a little bit empty. I wish there was a swivel with that big prop. I can't believe this song is one of the songs that needs a commercial break. Or that was not on my list of expectations for this year.
It is a huge prop though when you see them roll it in two pieces. Because I was kind of thinking, like, you guys are bringing in the biggest ass props in one piece. So why did you bring that one in two pieces? I think it's probably quite heavy.
It looks quite heavy.
They rolled it on like wheelies. We call them wheelies. Mm-hmm. And then people had to actually climb onto it to make it because it was like two half circles, right?
Yeah.
They had to actually climb onto it. I don't know if you saw that, to sort of make it go up so that they could connect them. So I was like, oh, that must be really heavy. So maybe that's why they need that commercial break.
I just think that if you're going to have a prop like that, you need to make the most of it. And I don't think it added anything to the performance. Now, I'm still going to just say great vocal. And definitely we can say that the vocal has been rewarded in this case. So, like, sometimes it doesn't work just having a good vocal, but it's worked here for him.
He's also, of course, a very, very famous singer in Latvia. I don't know how far his fame stretches outside of Latvia and the Balkans, in the Baltics, excuse me. We did have Estonia voting in that semi. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they got some extra points there. I have no idea. But yeah, it did surprise me that, because I thought, like, surely it's not just a voice. Surely, I mean, we've had so many songs in the past with great vocals that didn't make it. So why this one? Maybe just got lucky. But yeah, well performed, of course. And again, I don't want to hear anyone say that it's not deserved. I think that's bullshit. I think they all deserve to go through. They all work hard. So that's not really fair. But yeah, that definitely was a shocking qualifier.
Yeah, I think if you had asked me to choose any song from this year's competition that would not qualify, I think I would have chosen Dawn's. And that's no hate to Dawn's at all. It's just that that was what was, I think, expected. That being announced first was quite like, oh, we're in for a ride here.
Yeah. Well, semi-final one as well. The first three, I was like,
Yeah. Let's talk about the next two, because we're going to need a little bit of time for the ones following that. So San Marino, Megara. This is interesting. It worked better for me in the evening preview than it did in the final, semi-final.
Okay.
But I think there may have been issues with the staging. So, and the sound it wasn't as good as it had been before. So I think this may have been affected by some technical issues in the arena, but maybe just not enough to warrant a restart. But yeah, it was a shame. That we sort of knew that this wasn't going to qualify. This is the one that I think I'd have preferred to have been a shock qualifier. Personally, I do really enjoy it. I think the staging was built for TV, so I don't think we've necessarily seen the best of it. Having not seen that.
I mean, there was a lot of fire in the arena. That was fun.
Yeah, it was electric. But yeah, something went wrong in the arena yesterday for sure. Because even some of the smoke effects didn't work properly. With the drum and stuff like that, they had like the same smoke things like they have for Croatia around the drum, and they just sort of leaked smoke rather than had the power burst and stuff like that. So there was a few things that just didn't work in the arena yesterday, but I don't think, even if they had been perfect, that would have changed the result at all. I've got to say, I love their energy still, especially Kenzie. I think she does have a fantastic vocal with a lot of range to it, and she uses that, I think. But yeah, I think San Marino is very much undervalued at Eurovision, in my opinion. I know they're the smallest country, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy a lot of what they've been sending, but not qualifying with recently.
Yeah. They haven't really impressed me much, to be honest with you, except for Zenit and Florida for some reason, which completely blew my mind. I think when we were at the rooftop at some point. The song came on through the speakers, waiting for another artist to come. And I remember saying to a lot of people, like, "Do you remember where you were when this song came out?" Like, that was insane. They were definitely underappreciated that year. Otherwise than that, to be honest, they haven't really sent much that excites me. I did like Peak Jacks last year, though. I prefer that song to this one personally. It's a little bit more my style. But yeah, it was definitely in the arena a great performance. I also want to give a shout out to the people in the arena. I don't know who they were, but they really did cheer a lot for every single artist in both semifinals. Really, there was a general like sense of appreciation for what these artists are doing. You know, for giving us this amazing show. There were a couple of songs where I thought, oh, the reception is going to be very low and very, demure, and then big cheers came anyway. I was like, oh, this is nice. People are actually, being lovely, and that was just fun to witness.
Yeah, I think seeing it live is exciting for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then one of my favorite qualifiers from last night, Georgia, and that's with the song Firefighter. Now, we've got to say, Georgia this year, when asked what their budget was, said, "What budget?"
No
we
budget.
put it on the credit card.
Yeah.
The staging was fantastic. Obviously, they didn't overuse the fire, but the fire was there. It was prolonged. It worked well. It was one of the hottest performances of the night, both in terms of fire, but also in terms of the performance itself. I actually got a really great picture of Nutsa last night. It honestly looks professional. I will send it to you because I love it. But no, this one had really great energy. Yeah, I love Nutsa. I love Georgia.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I never had any doubts for Georgia. I will say, up to the pre-parties, I sort of had them as on the fence for qualifying because you never know with Georgia.
They've not done well recently.
They've not done well recently, but I feel like Georgia went like, fuck this, we're going to throw every penny at it that we have because we need to get out of this non-qualification streak, and they did just that. It was an insane performance. I already liked the song when it came out. It was one of probably my favorite girl bop of the year, apart from maybe Colleen. Just great performance. Again, stunning vocals. That girl can sing.
Yes.
And she's got a lot of high notes in that song, and she hits every single one of them perfectly. The energy, the dancing, the backing dancers, the fireworks, everything. It just worked. Like you said, it wasn't overdone. It was all done very thoughtfully. The backdrop was very beautiful. I especially love the graphic where it's sort of like almost looks like an eclipse behind her. I think it's at the start of the performance or pretty early on in the performance. The color scheme, it all just worked for them.
And she's gorgeous as well.
She is gorgeous. I also loved seeing that because I didn't know that. We knew that she'd done American Idol. I didn't know that she'd done the Turkish version of The Voice, where I don't know if she was coached by Hadise or if Hadise was just one of the coaches in that year. I don't know. But she did give Nutsa a shout out on her Instagram, which I thought was very lovely. Yeah. I mean, probably the best Georgian package. Let's call it package. I'm going to say song per se because there's other songs that I really like from them, but probably the best Georgian package in a long time. It just worked. It was just fantastic.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Nutsa back in future editions. She seems to have been having a really good time, and I think she's definitely. I think she should definitely come back and be a fan and be a long-term fan favorite. I think she's just really, really fantastic. Props to her. Okay, Thomas, I hope you're emotionally ready, but it's time to talk about Belgium.
Yeah.
Mutsi and Before the Party's Over did not qualify last night, and what is just shock to many.
Yeah.
There was a few comments from people I was in the arena with yesterday where it just didn't meet their expectations of the song performance-wise. And I hate to say I agree with it. He sounded great and looked great, but there's just I don't know if it's really just that issue with it being such a build-up to the last minute. If it was too much of a build-up and maybe not enough happened in those first 2 minutes. There was a great energy, but just yeah, I don't know what could have been done to change it. How do you feel?
Oh, it really. I cried last night. I did. I was so invested in it. I think I texted you at some point. I said like I really underestimated how much I loved him, how much I loved the song. It really, was heartbroken. I'm still heartbroken. Um, I mean, here's the thing, right? It was always, especially since the pre-parties, it was very hit or miss for him, I think, vocally. I do agree that there could have been done more with the staging, especially from the arena. Not a lot's happening, obviously. He starts off before, like, or like behind the mic stand. Then he gets on the mic stand. That's all very lovely, but it's not super impressive from the arena. So I can get those comments. It looked a lot better on TV though. From the recap that I've seen, there were a lot of very lovely LED graphics on the floors. They look very lovely, but yeah, they could have done more. We obviously didn't see the full thing on TV because we saw it in the arena. So I'm also only just judging on the recap that I've seen last night. I have not had the heart to actually watch the entire performance yet. I saw a bit more of it in the news just now because they were talking about the obvious thing that happened today, which we're going to discuss in a couple of minutes. They did talk about Mustafar a little bit, and I did see it just looked nice.
Yeah.
It looked nice. Nothing more, unfortunately. But still, I would have thought that the song and his energy would have been enough to get him through, at least.
Yeah. I do have to make an honest revelation to you at this point, and Thomas. But I had sort of felt that the song had maybe reached a peak for me a few weeks ago, and it just sort of feels like every time it's a very repetitive song, and I feel like the amount I'd listened to it, I maybe listened to it so much that I maybe made myself a little bit sick of it. Not that I'm actually sick of it. It's still a great song, but I'm just like, oh yeah, this is happening again. I don't know. I still love Musty. I think he's absolutely lovely and do love this song. But yeah, just hopefully we can have Belgium back soon with something else. And again, I'd love to see Musty back at some point. I doubt he would, based on.
He would. I don't think he would.
Based on this, but I think he was lovely.
Yeah, I don't think he would ever come back, and I don't think I want him to come back either. I think a lot went wrong for him. Several. Yeah, it was just his entire journey has been quite difficult. I feel like I don't think I'm exaggerating when I'm saying that he is definitely the artist this year that has gotten the most hate and shit over him on social media, which I can confirm from the news report that we just saw that he was aware of it, and I don't think that's very nice. I think it's quite hypocritical that people are now acting, oh, surprise Pikachu face, he didn't make it. How is this possible when those same people have been praying for his downfall for the past couple of weeks? I don't think that's a nice thing to do. I don't think anyone or any of these artists should go through that. I feel like same with Ollie Alexander, really. has gone through a lot of shit, which I think is very, very undeserved. It was, of course, for a different reason, but it's been a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a lot, and I've personally seen a lot of negative comments constantly nitpicking at every single thing that he did, nitpicking at his energy, at the fact that he was moving, the fact that he was dancing, what he was wearing, what his hair looked like, his vocal.
Yeah.
It went on and on and on. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that he made was actually read those comments. I wish I could have just known him better and could have gone to him and said to him, like, don't focus on it, don't watch it, stay away from the internet. But
yeah.
I
think this is an important reminder that these are real people. Even those from countries that, whether or not you believe that they should be in Eurovision or not, they are real people at the end of the day. Now, everyone's open to criticism. Criticism is fair and valid, but you need to be respectful when having a critique. Remember, these are real people. With Mostly, I feel like he couldn't do anything right during the pre-party season for sure. And
I feel like it was also just every single bit of information that was released, or every single bit of media attention that he got, was immediately picked up by these people who would just, sometimes they would even say things about a performance that hadn't even happened, or that haven't even been published yet. Like, they would say, oh, he was awful, blah blah blah, and I'm like, he's on stage right now at this point. There are no pictures, there's no footage, shut the hell up. It really, I don't think I've ever seen it as bad for any artist in all those years that I followed Eurovision on several social media platforms. Maybe just also because I was so invested in him that I saw a lot of it.
It's really hard to, when you are invested in an artist and a song, it is very hard when you see that sort of stuff as well. So I think people need to remember, not only are artists people, but they have fans. I really dislike it when people say, who the hell can ever like this song, or what the rest of it. Like, you don't like it, that's fine, it's not for you, but that doesn't mean you get to shit on it for everyone else.
And just if you, I said this in a tweet the other day as well, just because you're allowed to speak your opinion doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. I mean, there is this little thing that you could do where that's just moving on. You don't like the song? Great. Sure. I don't like every song as well. Move on. Stop talking about it. Why do you go out of your way to say something negative every single day? It's not necessary. I don't think you could probably not find a single tweet of neither you or me on Twitter that is anything negative about an artist. I don't think we've ever said, oh, that performance was shit, or they didn't sound great, or that look was shit, or like. What?
I think the things we've said are, maybe the vocal wasn't great, maybe this could have been different, or I would have preferred X, Y, Z to have happened rather than what they do. These are just critiques and criticism, and everyone is open to criticism. It's when you start to make it personal and constant, and I think there's an issue. But yes, I am sad for Belgium. I have lost a bet with the bookies, unfortunately, but thankfully that was a free bet, so I've not lost any money, passed on anything. Let's talk about, so all the next 4 acts did qualify, but let's talk about Estonia and Norway first of all. So Estonia is one of your favorites, so how happy are you?
Oh, like that one in Armenia are what made last night worthwhile. Obviously Switzerland too, but I don't think anyone ever had any doubts that Switzerland was qualifying. So I was very, very happy for Estonia. It's just a great song, great energy. They riled up the audience in the arena at the start of the song, at the end of the song. I remember when we reacted to that song, we said, like, it must be great to be in that arena. especially as an Estonian person, understanding the lyrics, being able to sing it along to the song. We obviously are not able to do that unless we've learned them by heart, which I haven't.
We still can't even say the title.
No, not at all. But it was it vocally pitch perfect? No.
It's not one that needs to be.
Yeah, no. It's not one where it needs to be, unlike, for example, Musti's song, where the vocal really needs to be great. But this was just pure joy. It got a huge reaction in the arena on the jury show. I imagine it was probably the same last night. I did, however, have my doubts about it qualifying. I think in my final prediction, I did say it wasn't going to qualify. Just because I thought there's a lot of these fun songs and there doesn't seem to be any hype for it. But people voted for it, so that's lovely.
I will say one of my main issues with the staging, I feel like it lost something from the staging from the national final. We spoke about when we reviewed it, the national final staging was crazy. Yeah. And I feel like it lost some of that craziness.
Because it's bigger now. It's a bigger stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't necessarily a fan of the backdrop they used with the video of them doing the dance where it spun them around and stuff. I felt it, I don't know. I didn't feel like it added anything. There was just something missing from the staging from me. Not performance wise, it just didn't feel like the staging was quite right to me. But again, I've not watched it back on TV. It might have been different.
This was actually one that they showed in the news report as well tonight when they were talking about the qualifiers. And I have to say, the shots from the front of the stage where you have the full backdrop and them doing the dance, it looks very cool. It looks very impactful. Okay. It looks fun. My mom was watching. She didn't watch Eurovision last night. She was on her way to pick me up from the train station. But she was watching and she's like, "Oh, I like that one." So there's obviously something that worked on TV. So yeah,
lovely. In Norway, no one doubted it. Doubted our perfection. Obviously, some people, I think yourself, I'd still think you don't massively get it, or you enjoy it, but it's not your favorite.
Yeah. I just don't fully connect with it. It's not for me. But I've said 100 times before, I see a lot of potential in this one. I still think it is very much a contender to do well in both the jury and the televote. But that doesn't mean that I have to love the song.
Yeah. No. But no, I think the performance it's kept everything it needed to keep from MGP. They didn't need to change anything really. I really do love the backdrop with the crashing waves. I actually noticed yesterday this cubes do the same thing above them. So I'm interested to see if the cubes actually are used at all on.
I don't know.
On the video, or if it was just added in for the arena. But no, I don't think there's much to say. We were expecting this to qualify with ease, and it definitely has. It's a fantastic performance. I did think he almost didn't catch the guitar last night. But he did catch it. He did, but I did notice that just because I was fairly close to him. And I think, is it Gunnell, the singer's name? I think absolutely amazing vocal.
And very consistent. Has been amazing from MGP to now. All the pre-parties, very, very good. I think I did say, though, at some point during the jury show 2 days ago, that I did feel like the staging doesn't really come across. And I'm talking about staging. I'm not talking about vibes or in the arena. I'm talking about staging-wise, the backdrop and the lighting. It doesn't come across as impressive standing next to it than when you see it on TV, because that's obviously one that we have seen in MGP a couple of times. It looks a lot more impressive there than it does in the arena, but I'm sure it looked very impressive on TV last night. So
it's one I'm looking forward to revisiting. Okay, so we do have 2 more qualifiers to briefly discuss, but it might not be so brief. Of course, we need to just mention Israel have qualified. I think we did expect this. Yeah. We obviously didn't leave the arena we were standing, so we're pretty squished in, but we didn't really engage with the song. But I remember thinking that it just sort of on Wednesday anyway, it just sort of sounded, what I did hear just sort of sounded a little bit flat, not tonally, but just sort of, it just didn't really inspire anything. But that may not have been helped with how tense it felt for those.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I felt like that. I feel like at some point I was looking around me and thinking, like, do we leave? Is this getting a little bit too tense? And there was this mixture of cheers and genuine admiration for her with complete, like, utter disgust. So it was coming from all around. I remember I heard boos and a lot of Free Palestines coming from all around us. But at the same time, I heard a lot of I love yous.
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was so weird.
You know, people are going to choose to do what they choose to do. And I'm not going to criticize for that. You know, I may disagree, we may disagree, but we're not going to get into the politics of it for this.
No. It qualified. We can't help it.
It qualified. People do seem to genuinely enjoy the song. And when I was in the hall yesterday, I can confirm I've not heard what the fake cheers were like. So if there was some that were added in, but I can confirm there were definitely cheers all around the arena.
Yeah, wait just a second, because Billy's being really annoying. Sorry, he was digging a hole to China again.
No worries. But there were definite cheers. And there were some that were probably to drown out the few boos that we heard. People wanted to, it became sort of like a who can do it louder match, but there were people who were genuinely cheering. And I just wanted to let you know that from someone who was in the arena, that was the case. It wasn't.
I mean, look, it came 7th in the audience poll on Wednesday. That already sort of proves that there's still a lot of love for this song and for Israel, regardless of what they're doing.
So that's that. Now, the big story of today is Friday the 10th of May. Currently, while we're recording this, it is 10:15 Central European time. What is happening with the Netherlands? They have qualified, but they have not been performing in either this afternoon's dress rehearsal or this evening's preview show. Joost was part of the flag parade, but it appears that just 20 minutes later, potentially according to some reports, that the entry was suspended. Pending investigation by the EBU for an incident.
It's been confirmed by the EBU, by the way,
that they've been suspended.
That they're being suspended right now. It was confirmed in the arena as well that they would not be performing, and EBU has confirmed that there is an investigation going on about a certain incident. We do not. I don't think we haven't checked now in the last hour because we've been recording. I don't know if there has been any news about what kind of incident it was. There's rumors that Joost would have gotten into a physical altercation with someone. However, that someone has been rumored to be someone from the press. It has been rumored to be someone from the Israeli delegation. It has been rumored to be someone from any other delegation. We really don't know. And I don't think they'll tell us either. I don't think they'll be specific.
Speculation isn't necessarily going to help. We have had reports from SVT that it was a photographer and that it wasn't related to Israel, or comments Joost made in regards to Israel yesterday in the qualifiers press conference. But it does seem to have been a very difficult day for Eurovision and the EBU. Obviously, if the incident as reported by SVT is true, then it is very important that the EBU take that seriously. And I think if that is what has happened, they probably made the correct decision in suspending Joost pending the investigation. they have to ensure everyone's safety, whether that be artist, press, audience, whoever. So that will be my comment on this. If those reports from SVT, and I'm inclined to believe SVT, seen as they are the host broadcaster on this one. But yeah, it seems to have sent some sort of shockwave, where we're hearing reports that the Spanish delegation have insisted that EBU continue to uphold the free press and free expression, and just lots of different things.
The thing is, there's so much going around that I don't even know anymore what has to do with what. Like, I don't know what the Spanish
are referring to. Yeah, it could be.
What are they referring? Are they referring to the fact that a reporter has been physically attacked by Yost, or are they? Because I've also heard that the Spanish delegation or Spanish media have been harassed by Israeli delegation or Israeli media. I heard that there's some conflict there as well. So I have no idea where this is all coming from. And what I do want to point out is because I really cannot stay silent about that, is the fact that the EBU is handling this absolutely in the most horrible way possible. They are not giving out any information. They are just allowing all these rumors to happen. It is happening in the press center. The press, of all people, are the ones creating, a lot of the times, creating these false rumors and spreading them, and the EBU is doing nothing. It really, really bothers me. I feel like they are digging their own grave right now. It's been a very difficult year for them already. They have not, they have not made all the right decisions in the past. I think we can definitely agree on that. I don't know if everybody watching this is going to agree on that, but we know what our stance is about Israelis' participation.
Yeah.
And now it's just getting worse and worse. I don't know why they just don't come out with a statement and just be clear, like, this is what happened. We're investigating it. But no, they're just letting everybody make up stories, and I don't get it.
Yeah, we won't discuss the speculate anymore. But I do want to just add with the EBU. But I want to my main issue right now, is. Okay, they made the decision to allow Israel to compete. That's a decision, and they weren't going to change that at short notice. We don't need to be happy about that. You can be happy about that if you wish, but we don't need to be happy about that. But I think my issue is in their strive to ensure that the contest is non-political. They have completely and utterly eroded any trust that many Euro fans will have, because what is happening isn't non-political. It is actually the prevention of having artists and audience participants have the freedom of expression or the freedom of speech. To censure Eric Sadi for wearing the scarf on his wrist, to censure Bambi Thug for trying to use the word ceasefire in an ancient language that no one can read. This is where their strive for non-political has become political, in the fact that they are trying to dictate what can and cannot be said by individuals. For me, non-political comes to government influence, etc., propaganda, whatever. It doesn't come down to people's personal, thought-out opinions. Whether or not Israel are happy to hear what the Irish delegation have to say about the situation, tough shit. That is their opinion, and everything is inherently political. Even just having a flag with your favorite country on it is essentially political. But yeah, I think it's eroded a lot of trust. I think there's a lot of hurt out there.
And it's caused a lot of the artists and the delegations to really, I mean, we've now had 2 artists already who have made some sort of political statement on stage by through painting or writing something on their body. We know that I don't know what the name is of
I think his name is Fred from
Australia has secretly painted the shape of a watermelon on his chest. That is obviously a political statement. That is something that they weren't allowing him to do. He did it anyway behind their backs. Musti did the same, where he wrote the word peace with a sort of, I don't know, magic marker or something on his arm. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Have you not heard it?
I didn't see it, no.
Oh yeah, so he did. It was in the news here as well in Belgium. But the point where at the end of the performance where he takes he drops his shirt, there's like his arms. You can clearly see in big letters it has the word peace written on there. That is obviously another political statement, and it's sort of. And here's the thing. Here's where it gets political again. For me personally, I'm happy to see that artists are doing something, that they are expressing their feelings towards what is happening in the world. I think that is also a form of freedom of expression that sort of, coexists with what you said, is that the EBU, in all their trying to make it apolitical, they are really limiting people from, expressing their views, which I don't think is right. But
at the end of the day, that's a human right, freedom
exactly.
of speech and expression.
And it's resulted in artists doing it behind their backs, and I don't think that that's the way that it should be done. And I get that they're sort of trying to limit the political statements, but honestly, the word ceasefire and the word peace should not be considered as a political statement. I don't think by doing so, either Musti or Fred or Bambi mean that they are against Israelis. They are just against war and what the Israeli government is doing right now. So again, it is extremely, extremely unprofessional of them, the way that they have handled this whole situation from the start.
Yeah.
And they have proven that today, how unprofessional they are and how in too deep they are. They really, I don't think they have any control anymore. It's sad.
I genuinely was out in Copenhagen today, and every time I looked at my phone, there was something new happening and being discussed.
And this is all, of course, completely separate from whatever happened to Joost.
Yes, let's go back.
That's nothing to do with that, but
go back to Joost. The performance itself. For those who love Joost, this is going to be a great performance. It's still not for me. It is fun. I really enjoyed the Gabber drop. If I could have picked my 10 songs from here to qualify, Netherlands would not have been one of them. That's where I'm at. But no, I can understand why people like this, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I do really like the song. I do like the performance. So for me, it was definitely one of my qualifiers. It's not my number one, not by a long mile. But yeah, for me, it was definitely a deserved qualifier. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. We don't even know yet at this point whether or not Joost is going to be performing. We know that from the official EBU statement that the second semi-final performance will be used for the juries to judge on. So they will judge and give points on that performance, which I don't see. And here's again where I'm so confused as to how they're handling this. Is why would you let them give points to this, potentially give a lot of points to this? I don't know what the juries would do with Joost Klein. Why would you let them potentially give points to this if tomorrow you might make the mistake, the decision to disqualify them or not include them in the final? And then what? What's going to happen to all of those points? Are you going to make them vote again? Are you going to just take those points out? There's going to be a whole uproar because, what would have happened if those points had been given to someone else? Would the result have been affected? It's just all so chaotic. I just don't get it. I don't get what they're doing. They should have just made the decision tonight before the jury show. They should have just made the decision tonight. You're in or you're out. They obviously know what happened. It doesn't take that long. There's been rumors, everybody already sort of kind of knows that there's been a physical altercation. It is either against rules or it's not. It's quite simple. You disqualify him or you don't. Whether or not people would be happy with the decision, I don't know. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, how could they disqualify him but not Israel?" That's a completely different matter. Aidan Golan obviously didn't physically attack anyone. It's all very difficult, but they should have made that decision right now. Now they're just digging they're just digging a really, really deep hole that they're going to struggle to get out of. Nice. The only way I can see this going smoothly for the Netherlands or for their potential jury votes tomorrow is if they're allowed to compete. If they're allowed to compete, then those points will be valid, and that'll be the end of it. But if they're not, then
yeah, we'll just need to see what happens. Now, we said we were going to keep this brief. We have not.
There's just too much to talk about. I mean,
it's been a crazy, crazy, crazy day. What we can quickly discuss is the rest of the show. So obviously we had the sing-along with Helena Zertab and Charlotte Pirelli. Absolute queens. I think I was actually shouting mothers at all three of them last night. They were fantastic. I love this song along idea and sort of replicating the Al sang.
Do you remember? Because I didn't. Because that's the part that I did still see. Because that was during the voting.
Yeah.
Do you remember Wednesday night when Malin and Petra start singing My Number One? Did they actually deliberately sing it out of time? Do you remember that? Because on TV you could see like they started singing and they were starting too late and they were sort of looking confused at each other, and I couldn't tell whether that was scripted to sort of pretend like they're not good at singing along, or if if they really missed their cue.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see. But I don't know. I just love this All Sang tribute. Yeah. It's really it's nice that they did it in the same way, where they're out into the audience and getting them involved. Obviously there are budget restraints, and this is a good way of getting a few minutes filled in a really fun way without breaking the bank. I do think this was a good decision. I thought it was really good. All three of the acts were fantastic. And then we have the return of Charlotte Pirelli with Petra and our EBU spokesperson Linda Woodruff. For We Just Love Eurovision Too Much. Now, I've not seen all the on TV, as I've said, so I have missed some of the jokes and what they are.
I haven't watched it back yet. So
yeah, we obviously know there is maybe one or two jokes that may be poorly timed for some of those people who are concerned about the non-political nature of Eurovision currently. But we will just get to what was meant from it. We won't get too much into the politics. I thought this was a lot of fun.
This was super great.
Linda Woodruff, them writing in her struggling to say Azerbaijan into this song again is
fantastic.
It's just it's so iconic. Absolutely fantastic.
And they all did that so naturally. That's what I love about Sweden hosting Eurovision, is that as hosts, they are all just naturally funny. They know how to deliver a joke, especially Petra, but also Linda. Also, Charlotte Pirelli delivered those jokes perfectly. Great timing. It was just, this might actually top Love, Love, Peace, Peace. I felt like Love, Love, Peace, Peace was funny, and it was great, and it was amazing, but this one just made me cackle so much.
Yeah. I also have to comment on Linda's quick change into this old-fashioned Victorian type dress with EBU written on the front. Yeah. I don't know what it was about it, but that made me nearly piss my pants. I thought that was so funny. And then, of course, we had the Finnish invasion with the Moomins and a certain green goblin who goes by the name of Ikaria. How excited were you about this?
Oh my God! Do you know what? I don't know if my ears right now, if they're hurting from like the plane from because you know how you're sometimes like the air pressure can make your ears hurt. I don't know if they're hurting from that or if they're hurting from all the screams and cheers when Karia came on stage on Wednesday night. I don't know if it was as loud last night, but Jesus Christ, did that crowd go wild? And I think at some point I turned around to you and I said, like, "Yours who?" Like, this guy is still making that crowd eating out of the palm of his hands. It was great to see him return. It was great to see him return with his original dancers from Eurovision last year.
Do you know what that really shows, which I really enjoy, and I've said this to you privately, is it really shows that SVT and the production behind the show are working with broadcasters, because obviously they had Mattia and Jesse. Jesse and Mattia are part of the Finnish delegation already this year, so it's not like they would be the normal people to call to come up onto stage for an interval act, seeing as they are actively a part of the delegation, but they've obviously worked with the Finnish broadcaster to ensure that could happen and work on that and get that sorted. So absolutely props to Sweden for sorting that. I've just realised we didn't even talk about the big five. So we've also got spin. We've got Spain. We have France. And we have Italy. I would say my favourite out of those three performances was Spain, even though Mary did miss her cue a little bit on Wednesday. She sounded fantastic. She sounded really good last night to me in the arena. It went off. Absolutely loved that.
Yeah, great energy.
For me, it would... Angelina, it sounds great, but I do not appreciate like the staging. It doesn't work for me. And
I think I said to you that night, it looks she sort of blends in her staging. I don't understand why they've made her outfit and then the sort of throne that she sits on at some point and the backdrop all in the same colors, in the same busy sort of print. It's pretty, but it all just blends together. It's for me, it almost feels like I'm watching one of those sort of effects. So those images with those sort of like moving squares or something that you have to stare at, and then your eyes sort of go. That's sort of what it makes my brain go fuzzy. I love that song, but yeah, that staging.
It performed fantastically, but not a fan of the staging.
And then France,
Slimon sounds great. We knew that it was going to sound great, but the song just still doesn't do anything for me. And it's not really designed for the arena either, so I can't really comment on how it looked at all.
Neither can I, because I haven't seen it.
But it sounded great. What I do need to say one funny thing. One of the people I was with yesterday didn't realize that Slimane did the step away from the microphone part, and obviously the audio just is for him. It just went away from quiet and just sounded a little bit weird. And it's like, is it supposed to sound like this? So shout out to Matthew for not knowing that. That gave me a good laugh. But no, a really good show, just with a horrible few clouds hanging over it a little bit, unfortunately. But
also, can we just quickly mention the opening number with the tattoo, the sunbeds and the tattoo reference? Oh my God. That is, to me, the best joke. Do you remember when we were looking at that on the screen? It came up on the screen, right? Because it was the start of the show. We were looking at that and we were thinking to ourselves, like, why are we watching a video of Malin and Petra getting ready and getting their makeup done? And then you see them getting on the sunbeds. And it didn't, even when they closed the sunbeds, it should have dawned on us then, and it didn't. And then that sort of like that sort of typical sound from Lorene's song came on, and the whole crowd just erupted in laughter. It was hilarious, so clever, so clever. Love that.
Absolutely. So yeah, we should wrap it up because we have been talking for nearly an hour and a half.
Yes.
Apologies for any technical difficulties if they appear on screen. I am on a very bad public Wi-Fi in my
And
hotel.
to make it up to you.
Oh, balloons and confetti.
Ooh, oh. It's a double party.
Double party. We will be back on Sunday. This podcast is probably actually going to be released on Saturday because it is 11 o'clock and I've not got time to edit it. But we will be back on Saturday.
I do want to say, though, you can cut this out if you want to. I have not decided yet if I'm going to be watching tomorrow.
Oh, have you not? Oh.
No, I am. I don't know if I'm willing to watch that country win because
I have decided I am going, but I've not decided when.
You have a ticket. I'm not totally not judging anyone. It's just for me. I'm at home. I think I'm going to watch them all. I haven't decided yet. I might not be able to contain myself, but I might zap away as soon as I see points going in that direction.
Well, I did have a wobble over it. I'll say that. But there are 25 other acts that we have been supporting and have worked hard, and I think that they deserve their moment to shine still. So I will be back on Sunday. Thomas might join us. We will have a new winner of the Eurovision Song Contest. We will also have reviews of Charlotte Pirelli, Carola, Conchita Wurst, Loreen, and Alcazar are back. How did they convince them to do that? And also Carola. Oh, what?
How did they convince? It's Alcazar.
They've not been together for a while, have they? I thought they split up.
Yeah, but I mean, Alcazar missing a shot to be at Eurovision. Come on, they've tried so many times. They wouldn't let that slip, would they?
I will say, if one of the songs they're doing is not Crying Out the Discotheque, I will cry.
Then why are you there?
What's the point?
Yeah.
But yes, it looks like it's going to be an insane show. Petra and Malin have been absolutely great hosts, so I'm looking forward to seeing them again. And good luck to all of the participants. And we will see who wins on Saturday. But you can also keep up to date at niallpoints.com, Niall Poit blog on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me on Niall Poit on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can follow me at Paidatomriuya on Twitter and Instagram.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. It's not working. It's not recognizing that as a thumb. There you go. Maybe your thumb looks deformed or something. And yeah, we will see how this goes. It might be a very short podcast on Sunday, but we'll see what happens. Much love to every single one of you, and just do what feels right for you, and stay safe and stay happy. Yeah, I think that's what I want to say. So, see you.
Bye.